So from our vantage point here on our little Mother Earth, we look out into the sky beyond, and we see the sun has now got a backdrop of a new hexagram, and it's gone into hexagram number 49. And here we are, we're in where this top left-hand corner of the wheel is here, and we've just gone past number 13, which opened up this new season that took us into the emotion center. And the very first emotion that we have is this 49, the gateway of no, the gateway of I'm not going to take it anymore, the gateway of what has been called revolution. And what is now evolving as consciousness on this planet changes and moves into a different form, we're moving out of reaction. We're moving beyond revolution. And we're moving into this whole experience in life of being the rebel. In this cutout here, the 49 is in the top part of this image. All of these gateways now, they're in the emotion center, and the lower part of the hexagram, the bottom trigram, solid, broken, solid, is the indication of fire in the belly. And so you can see, reaction, revolution, there's a lot of fire around that, but being the rebel is a very, very different quality. The rebel is not fan material. They can recognize what's unjust, what's unfair, what doesn't work properly, where people are misusing their influences and their powers. But the rebel works on their own behalf. They're not so much part of the tribe or the community so much anymore. And I know in human design terms, the 49 is very much seen in what we've called the tribal circuitry. And it is really the doorkeeper of who's allowed in and who's out. What are the principles of being able to join into something or not? So the 49 is very involved in principle. But as things are moving and as consciousness moves, we're going into this very, very different state where all of us have to just get over this thing of joining the club, joining the crowd, joining the mob, joining the revolution, and being clear in our own right that we are here as a rebel. We watch what's going on. We don't automatically subscribe to everybody else's sense of blame or upset or things going wrong. And I know it looks kind of crazy at this moment in time where there's reaction going on all over the world, reaction against bad behaviors. But this is where it's going. And all of us can really recognize this thing, this quality of being the rebel, standing in our own truth. And we can subscribe to group interactions if we choose, but we're always the odd one out. That's the thing about it. So here we are, the sun gone into the 49, up in the top left-hand side there, the earth in the fourth gateway, the gateway of solutions, mental solutions. In the traditional I Ching, it's called youthful folly. Youthful folly is though some kind of a thought process will arrange everything properly in life. But make no mistake, the fourth gateway can be very, very clever at finding quick fixes, quick understandings to things, quick appreciations. On the unconscious side, the sun in the 43, this gateway of insight, and it's part of individual circuitry, so the insight is absolutely new and pristine and nobody else has had this. And the 23 on the other end, the voice of I know. This is how I'm going to tell you about this insight that has come through my unconscious. So very, very powerful channel. It's all individual circuitry. It's all about sound quality, the sound quality of the voice, the sound quality of the environment, the sound quality of the voices that you hear from other people. And so we have here the personal life theme of explanation. What is it that's going on here? And the 49 picks up right away. Something's not right here. The principles are out of order here. And the fourth gateway says, here's a possible solution for it. And the 4323 taps into something very different and says, I know there's another way of doing this. So explanation, a very, very powerful life theme in terms of as long as the frequencies, the sound frequencies are right, it can change all kinds of dimensions. It can change all kinds of situations. But the person using this voice, the 4323, has to be so relaxed in themselves. They're not pushing some kind of an agenda or any sort. They're not up in arms necessarily in a rebellion or reaction. They're just clearly the rebel, and they express themselves, I got a different point of view here. I got one that may lead us towards a much more creative output. Let's see. We go on to the 49 with the fourth line, and the 49, again, what I'm pointing towards, this whole thing of the rebel. And the rebel has their certain principles, and this is a fixed fate. And a fixed fate literally has, this is how it's going to be. I'm not going to embrace unfairness. I'm not going to embrace people that are confined to poverty their whole life. I'm going to make sure people have a fair shake. The 4 with the fourth line, it's been called all kinds of things. And what I've really researched this 4 with the fourth line, and it can be a little weird in terms of logic. It can come out with some kinds of ideas that really, where did that come from? And I looked really closely at it and I thought, well, is there actually a rational, reasonable expression that comes out of the 4 gate with the fourth line? And quite generally, not so much. And then I thought, well, are they confined to a box of any sort? And then I thought, no, they're not confined to a box. In fact, for a 4th gate with the fourth line, there isn't a box. There isn't a box to think outside of. It has a completely different access to a thought process here. So this fixed life theme of principles can act in ways that really defy the commonplace, defy the expected. They can go way overboard on people's behalves to make sure they get a fair shake. The unconscious sun in the 14 now, the 14, the gateway of prosperity, and the 8th gateway, the gateway of the agent, the one who brings people together to cooperate together. So again, a very, very powerful life theme. It exists for 2 or 3 hours out of a year, but there it is. It's part of our nature to recognize there are certain principles. These are how these things are. So just looking back quickly to the life theme of explanation, people that have this life theme. And remember, we're looking at the conscious sun of the 49, this quality of the rebel in the first point. James Dean, rebel without a cause. Carole King, this extraordinary singer, went where nobody else had gone with song. Nick Nolte, he's always a surprise when he's acting. The night manager himself, Tom Hiddleston, and Sheryl Crow, this just wonderful chanteuse. And you can know she's a rebel. She just has that rebellious quality about how she relates into this world through explanation. So after the fixed fate, we then come to the interpersonal life theme I call the rebel. It has been called the life theme of the revolution, but the thing of it is about revolution, it goes around. Same thing goes round and round and round. Nothing changes. And that's what I'm talking about now. We are in a point in time where human consciousness is transforming, whether we like it or not. And you just have to look at all the things that are rearranging themselves around us. We're moving into an age where technology is going to run everything, sooner or later. And unless you're a rebel, if you're just going along with it, or you're reacting or being a Luddite with all this technological change, or you refuse to take it on and engage with it in some level, then, the revolution is going to carry on. You're going to get caught up in all kinds of protest of how things are going so badly against you. But the rebel is the one that stands in their own way, in their own truth, in their own right. And so conscious sun in the 49 with the 5th and 6th lines, an ability to lead or guide or take the place of seeing what's going on in other people's lives, taking responsibility for these things. The 4th gateway with the 5th and 6th lines coming out with some very profound solutions of how life can be improved, how things can be made better. And the sun unconscious in the 14 gateway of prosperity. Like, this is very much how people gain their equality in the world, is through living in a prosperous environment. And the 8th gateway, very instrumental in drawing people's creativity to be contributed. And so the rebel plays a very, very precious part in the lives of all of us, reminding us there's a different way of doing things. We don't have to get caught up with the mob. We don't have to get caught up in a state of revolution. I mean, you just have to look at Russia and see that nothing changed there. We've got Tsar Vladimir instead of Tzar Nicholas. And we got the oligarchs, it's like the same nonsense. The same kind of thing is happening in other places as well. We don't have to buy into it. right? We don't have to go along with it. We watch it carefully and just to see, how does this affect my life personally? That is the whole point. So very, very powerful, this interpersonal life theme of the rebel. People that you know will have this life theme. Jennifer Aniston, right? She plays all kinds of stuff. She empowers all kinds of different people in all kinds of different ways. But you know, you can't touch her. She's the rebel, right? Charles Darwin. I went to school at the same place he went to school in England. You know, this guy that just totally changed people's ideas of where we came from and how consciousness is evolving. Abraham Lincoln, I mean, tell me about it. This guy changed everything in America. Everybody looks to him. This is the guy that really had his trip together. And this amazing musician, Peter Gabriel, love his work. So those are people that have this particular life theme of the rebel. If you want to see more about the particular lines and other principles involved in the 49 hexagram and how it connects into our lives, here it is. And it's in the Book of Lines, available in all good bookstores, particularly from Amazon, part of the Human Design Trilogy. And so just I encourage you, look further into this. We're in a time of massively evolving consciousness, and it is essential for all of us to engage on the principle of the rebel. And that's where I stand with this hexagram.